No, it's funny because like when you tell them you're design students, they really think it's really easy stuff, but
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah, usually when people
Like
when
you say you're an
to
interior
design.
designer
Oh, you decorate?
major,
You
they
decorate?
think that it's all decoration, that you do the decor, and it's not. Like we have to do the architecture,
Of
like the
the
floor
interior.
plans and all that.
I find architecture very like amusing. It's very interesting. Like I don't mind going to downtown and just looking up and then admiring the beauty of it. Um, so I took a history of past and present architecture, and that was the first class I studied for. Like I sat down and I did flashcards and I studied and I aced my test and everything. So that's when I'm like, but I don't know if I really want to start with architecture. So they're like, why don't you decide to do the interior? I was like, oh. So I started looking into it, and I fell in love with it because when you go into a place, like with this class, right? With this class, the first project that they make you design is a bathroom, and you never see a bathroom the same way as before. You walk into the bathroom and you're just like, okay, let me look at it. Let me look at the space. Let me see how it's designed. So
You can pretty much point out things that are wrong with it.
yeah, and that's what made me fall in love with it. I want to learn about the art history, the architecture of my country. I want to hopefully one day move to Mexico at least for a couple of years and be able to come back to the United States. I want to see if I could pursue my future in my career in Mexico someday. I'm not doing it to reunite with family, but for my educational purposes. I actually called my mom the day that Professor Armando um, told told us about the his plan of having this class. I called my mom and I said, "Hey, mom, I'm going to Mexico," and she's like, "Okay, bring me some candy." I was like, "No, I'm not joking around. Like, I'm going to Mexico." She's like, "Okay, I know. Bring me some candy." So I when was it? Oh, when I got my advanced pro, I called her. I was like, "Hey, mom, I actually got approved." She's like, "Okay, make sure to bring me some candy." So I think she's very supportive about it. She's confident that everything's gonna be alright because we're going through the university. It's for educational purposes. So she's positive that everything's gonna be okay. So, but she just wants some candy. She wants me to bring her some candy, some Mexican candy, which of course I am. I actually received my advanced pro 2 weeks ago. I thought I was gonna cry when I got it. I thought I was gonna be all excited, but I didn't know how to react to it. I was shocked. I didn't think it was gonna happen in exactly those 5 to 10 business days that they told you that you were gonna hear from them. I thought we were gonna have to wait even longer, but I didn't cry. I was surprised. I was very surprised I didn't cry. I think it's gonna hit me once we leave to Mexico. Like once we get on the plane and we're like on the way to Mexico, I think that's when it's gonna be hitting. That's gonna be like, oh, it's happening. I'm scared that I won't be able to come back into the United States because I have projects still, and I barely started, my major, so I want to finish it at least. I'm scared that someone might even know, hey, there's a group of foreign students studying in Mexico, and something could happen to us. But I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that nothing's gonna happen. So if there were to be an immigration reform, the first place I will travel without hesitation will be Rome. I wouldn't go to Mexico. I will go to Rome. I just love the Asian architecture in Rome. Like it's just beautiful. Um, it sucks that I can't go and visit, and I've actually talked to a profe if there's a way I could probably get help from him to do another advanced parole to study abroad within the design program. I like to dream and aim high because you achieve more. Never settle for anything less. So that's what I do. I like to dream a lot. And every dream that I've done, I mean, I've achieved it so far. So when I say what I want, people are like, "Ay, no quieres nada." I'm like, well, because I'm gonna get it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what it takes, but I'm gonna get it. That's what I am. I'm a go-getter. I might be depressed, I might cry, I might not sleep, but I like to get what I want. Home to me, I guess, is going, well, the Bay Area is gonna always be my home. I am a Bay Area raised. I love the Bay. I wouldn't change that for anything. I guess family, having all my family in the Bay, that's why I call it home. That's my family. That's where I get to spend time. I get to do, the Mexican tradition things that, that we do in Aguililla, because I'm from Aguililla, Michoacan. So that's where I have my traditional, like, meals, That's home in the Bay Area. Long Beach is home for the fact that this is where my career is starting. This is where I have to get used to the life. I need to get used to the fast life here because LA is, fast pace. So we don't sleep, LA is always up, and that's what it is. That's what we're always up, right? So this is why I feel like it's home, because we're getting used to that fast LA life. Mexico. Mexico is my home country. That's where I was born. I wasn't raised. I didn't live there for that long. But that's my home country. That's where I'm from. And I'm never going to forget my roots. I'm a proud Michoacana. I'll say I'm from Aguililla, Michoacan. I was born there. I have sangre from Jalisco as well because of my grandma. But I am Mexican. And I am proud to be undocumented and unafraid. I have classmates that tell me, why, how do you do it? How do you work 30 hours and you don't sleep and you come in and you have your things done? And then I tell them why I do the things I do, why I don't sleep, why I have to work so much. And I tell them I'm undocumented, and this is why I work so hard to get what I want. I actually fell in a really bad depression last spring that I had to do a medical withdrawal from all my classes. So this is the second time I'm taking space planning. The reason why I fell into depression was because I had not received yet my DACA at that moment. I was living here, living with my mom, paying my rent, and her having to pay my rent and send me money to live, like to eat. I didn't have money to pay for my materials. They're really expensive. I didn't have the materials to actually pass my classes. So that I wasn't mentally, physically in the class, that I got advice to talk to a counselor, which I did, and that's when they're like, you're depressed. And I mean, I knew I was depressed also, and I've been depressed before, and I just decided that I needed to focus on myself before I even continue with my education. I went once 3 days without eating, and nobody knew. I would like be at home crying, and I could not call my mom and be like, can you send me money, because I knew she was struggling at home. So I learned how to appreciate everything, and my mom would tell me, oh, why don't you just transfer to San Jose State? Why don't you just transfer back home? And the reason why I don't do it is because I've struggled so much to be here that I feel like if I were to go back home, I'll be taking the easy way out and just not dealing with anything. And I feel like everything that I've gone through these past 2 years that I've been here in Long Beach has definitely shaped me into the person that I am, and has definitely made me be more independent and appreciate everything that comes into my life. I was afraid that I wasn't going to succeed and that I was just going to give up and not finish my career. So not having money and not having the DACA and having a Social Security to be able to work legally made me feel afraid of not being able to succeed. I actually, when I did my medical withdrawal, I felt like a dropout. I felt worthless. I felt like I had failed. Oh my God, I'm gonna cry. At that moment when I dropped, my mom didn't talk to me for about a month. I just wanted to go home. I just wanted her to be like, it's okay, come home. But she didn't. And I'm thankful she didn't tell me to go home, because if she would have, I would have probably stayed in San Jose, and I came back. So as soon as I did my medical withdrawal, I got stung by a bee, so I couldn't get out of bed for a week. I went to the ER, and then like 2 weeks after that, that's when my doctor came in. So I feel like everything happened for a reason. My mom was very disappointed in me. She couldn't talk to me because she's like, you worked really hard, and I worked really hard for you to go to school, and you're dropping out. So I felt like I failed. And but I came back stronger than ever. Last semester I got a 3.5 GPA, no, 3.8 GPA. I got 3 A's and 1 B. So I came back stronger than ever.